Great. It's my pleasure today to welcome everyone and open this very important conference call or webinar about the Cycle Mindfulness Clubs and the progress that we are, or the initiative that we have right now to recruit leaders. I'm just a quick word about Natural Womanhood. My name is Gerard Migeon. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Natural Womanhood, a nonprofit organization based in San Antonio, Texas, that we started in 2012. And our vision is that all women will learn to claim their natural fertility as beautiful, powerful, and healthy. And it has, of course, a lot of application. One of them being natural family planning. One of them is health literacy for young women and other areas of health as well. Our approach is scientific. It's teaching the science, but as well as helping women appreciate, and couples appreciate, the gift that fertility, their natural fertility is, as they discover and understand it better through charting. Now, when we started, and most of our efforts have been through promoting information through our website. We have over 750 articles on our website, podcasts, videos, and we've reached probably about 4 million people so far through our website from all over the world. But we realized as we started working with young women and college students is that they hear the message, but they don't hear it, right? Because they don't know what they don't know. And what we notice is that there's a lot of isolation. So for example, they may hear like, okay, yeah, charting is great, and NFP is really what you need to do, and they think like, oh yeah, it's really good, it's wonderful, my body is a gift. But then I'll think about doing that when I'm getting married, right? And so there is definitely a piece that's missing, and Erin and Jackie, who are here, are going to explain that. But that was really what prompted us to say, like, how do we resolve this? How do we help women who are in college right now? And we're doing some other areas, working on other areas to help younger women as well. But women who are in college, how do we help them engage more deeply into this process of learning their fertility, learning about their cycle, and discovering who they are in this process? So with that, I have today two really great team members. I'm very honored and happy to introduce Jackie Aguilar. Jackie is our Director of Education, so she's more directly in charge of this program, and she is herself a fertility awareness counselor, educator, trained in the Creighton method, as well as the couple-to-couple league method. She's a mom of 5 children. One of them is going to college, not yet, but in a few years. And then and she has other daughters as well. And Jackie has been working with us as in different capacity as board member. She's done a lot of work in San Antonio. Is also a resident from San Antonio. So Jackie's gonna explain more about the way the club works. And then Erin Dewey joined us actually now. She's been with us as a team member for about less than a year, so about a few months. But she was, prior to that, she joined us as a club leader. So she was the leader of the club at A&M and did a wonderful job at the first. So that was one of the first Cycle Mindfulness Clubs. Did a wonderful job, and so we would speak from experience as former club leader there. As current club leader, she's leading a club for young single adults in San Antonio as well. So with that, I'm gonna let them take it from here. And again, welcome everybody. I'm excited about this conversation today.
Thank you, Gerard. We're so happy to be here and to share with all of you today more about our Cycle Mindfulness Clubs and the mission that we have for them and how you can be a part of helping them expand. So like he said, I am a former club member at a college at Texas A&M University, and then I am currently leading a club here in San Antonio. So I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of women over the course of the past 2 years almost now about this topic. And so just to give you a little bit of insight into what I've seen throughout that time, last year I actually gave a talk in College Station to a group of college students, to a group of college women about this topic. And I started to explain just how your cycle works and all these different things. But before we kind of got into that, I posed the question to them of what comes to mind when you think about your period? Like, what comes to mind when you think about your femininity? And it was overall just very negative perception of what it means to be a woman and what our bodies are telling us on a daily basis. And then just recently, as I was doing a similar thing in the current club that I'm leading, one of the club members shared that she didn't even know what her cervical mucus was. She actually thought it was a sign of infertility. And she was, because it was never talked about, no one ever even told her that that was normal. And so, she's in her mid-20s and she was believing this lie that she was infertile simply because she hadn't been equipped with the knowledge to know otherwise. So here's a visual of what the clubs look like. This was my club from last year at A&M, and it's just in the comfort of my own living room. And so one of the main goals of this group is to provide and foster an environment of safety, of vulnerability, where women, in learning about this intimate topic that is often not talked about as we are growing up, that they would feel comfortable to share about their experiences, about their misconceptions, and just bring to light a lot of their own maybe personal struggles that they've had in this area, but never had the opportunity to speak about it. So one of the primary ways that we do that is through the practice of charting. So we encourage all of the women in these clubs to start charting their cycles and to hopefully start learning the language that their bodies are speaking to them every single day. So I'll let Jackie kind of get into more of the structure and the goals of our clubs.
Jackie, you're muted. Start over.
Thank you. I apologize. I smile because thanks. Because some of the members of Erin's club from last year, they became our club leaders this year. And just watching, like, I don't know how joyful they are about the topic and about sharing this because they learned it and it really transformed the way they saw themselves. And so they couldn't wait to then share that with other women. Like I see their smiling faces in that picture, and I remember like the energy and just the excitement that they bring to the clubs this year. So these clubs are free to any college women. They're usually a smaller group of about 12 women, or 10 to 12 women. And the key components there, yes, are charting the cycle. So we encourage all women to learn a basic, very basic, we're not teaching any specific method, but just a basic habit of observing their bodies. And so that's encouraged right from the very beginning of the club, and not required, but definitely, encouraged. And then the cycle and fertility education and health management. So teaching women accurate scientific information about their bodies so they understand exactly how their bodies work. They understand all the different components of the cycle. And then the surprising component, like Erin said, was just this authentic women's community. Just when you open up this place to allow women to speak about things that they thought they couldn't talk about, right? Things that we usually whisper about, or maybe that there is a level of shame built around these things because we don't talk about them, because of maybe whatever preconceptions we have from our upbringing or just our own personal experience, whatever maybe wounds might be there just from growing up as a woman and the difficulty of that in this culture and in this society. When all of a sudden there's this safe place where you can share these experiences and not feel alone in those experiences. Oh, wow, you experienced that too? Then it really builds this authentic women's community, because, all the masks that we feel like we have to put on, they can just come off and we can just be true with each other. And that's just a beautiful gift that most of the girls report receiving from being in these groups. So the clubs meet weekly, every single week. And that might seem like a lot, but just like with a Bible study or somewhere else where you're working on growing an intimate community, it really benefits the girls to meet weekly. And we have these two types of meetings. So we present a topic, whether it's charting or hormones or ovulation or common cycle problems, different medical treatments, sexual desire, sexual control, all the different topics that are in our curriculum. We present them at an educational meeting. And then we have in between that, we have inspirational meetings where the leader will select some content, either an article, video, podcast from our website, and use that as a starting point for discussion on the specific topic, educational topic for that time period. So, and that's where the kind of the discussion and the openness and the comes into play in the way the meetings at the clubs are structured. So right now we're in our recruitment time. We're looking for new leaders for the 24-25 school year. Our applications open currently all the way till March 15th. And so we're looking for undergrads, girls who still have a year left in college, in their undergraduate program, and have a basic sense of the dignity of the woman, maybe have some experience with theology of the body, possibly do have some experience with either charting or dealing with their own personal health issues. That's wonderful, but not required. We provide for the leaders a 3-day training in Houston that is very comprehensive. So they'll learn everything that they need to know in that training to lead these clubs, everything from leadership training, how to listen, how to establish this environment of vulnerability and intimacy, within the girls, and then all the topics that we're going to cover, what that looks like, so they understand what they'll be presenting. They're not expected to be an expert. We make sure that every girl has the resources to be able to refer women out in case some health issue or other issue arises. This is just a place for sharing and supporting each other, but not for any kind of medical advice or anything like that. So the leaders are also required to recruit their own club members, but we give them a process for that. Managing the logistics of the membership. So when they bring in new members, making sure that they send that information in and have a good roster for their attendance. Plan and lead the meetings, which really requires, maybe an hour, less than an hour of planning, maybe, and then an hour for actually leading the meeting every week. Create that atmosphere of openness in the clubs, and then also report their progress back to us. And we do that by providing them monthly meetings where we meet with our leaders and provide them that additional report, and they can and they can report back to us any questions or concerns or challenges that they feel like they've experienced in their clubs. So they're never left alone. We support them all the year through. And just on that note below, most of the clubs that we've had so far have maybe had some association with their Catholic Student Center, but not necessarily that have necessarily had to be a organized official club on their campus, because they can, as a group of girls, they can meet in a living room like Erin did, or in a study hall room on campus. There's lots of options there and flexibility. So in the training that we offer this summer, we go through all 8 educational sections, all the 8 topics of our curriculum that are part of leading the club. We have a presentation on NAPREC technology, on authentic women's healthcare, a workshop on leading these life-changing clubs. So, how a leader can set that tone of intimacy for their club, a workshop on spiritual self-care, right? We know that this is very countercultural, right? So the women are going to need to stay, close to that foundation of their faith in order to continue out this work. And then workshops on the feminine genius and the meaning of women's dignity. We have an awesome theology of the body expert, on our board. She's amazing, and so she comes and gives beautiful talks to us. And then other sessions, just talking about the organization, planning, marketing, outreach of the clubs and how all that works, so that they have a clear understanding of what they'll need to do to be successful in running these clubs. And the training takes place here in Texas, and the dates this year are June 7th through 9th. So a leader does need to be available that weekend to be able to come down. All the travel expenses are paid. We provide lodging, the meals, and travel expenses for the girls to come down to the training.
I just want to speak a little bit more about the impact of these clubs, like not just coming from me, but coming from women who have actually been through the program. So this woman expressed that this organization has completely changed my view of being a woman. In our culture, most people see menstrual cycles as a disease or as a negative side effect of being female. Being in the Cycle Mindfulness Club allowed me to see my cycle as an example of the genius of God's design for our bodies and for our lives. We are made this way on purpose, so understanding our bodies better helps us to understand God better. So even just learning these scientific facts and growing in community with these women to learn about how their bodies work, they are growing deeper in their relationships with God if their faith life is a part um, of their life. And then the next slide, you'll see some more quotes. So this woman shared that meeting with these girls every week to learn about how intricately our bodies are designed has brought me a greater desire for healing, both in my mind and in my heart. It has taught me that my body is not something to be feared, fixed, changed, or dealt with. We get the opportunity to love it and nourish it, thankful for the ways it lets us love and honor it by learning more about our health. And so this is kind of depicting how this is countercultural and how this is sort of challenging this narrative that a lot of women, myself included, believed growing up, that our femininity was like a curse and that it was just an inconvenience. And so this Cycle Mindfulness Clubs, these are changing the narrative and allowing women to see the truth of their dignity, of their femininity. And if they experience cycle challenges, they have resources to get help for those. And I love one of these quotes of sharing, like, I've never heard my menstrual cycle in such a positive light, because across the board, that's what I'm seeing too, is like these women are just shocked that like there's so much beauty and so much goodness to learn just how your body's made and how much freedom comes in learning even how to take care of it. I think that one of the biggest blessings that Natural Womanhood has given me is just that is that in learning how my body works just on a physiological level, I've been able to learn how to live in sync with it instead of against it. Like I'm no longer like trying to just resist all of these signals that my body is telling me, or at war with my body, but rather like learning how to live more fully into it. And I have found so much freedom in that. And I've had the honor of like getting to watch other women do that as well. So this is just a visual of where we are currently, where we have Cycle Mindfulness Clubs. So these are all college campuses across the United States. You'll see we also have one in Uganda, which has been really awesome to witness. And so we are hoping to expand. We're hoping to get more places across this map. And so if you know someone that is interested in being a leader and leading a club like this here and growing that authentic women's community that goes deeper into what it means to be a woman, then we have an application link coming up ahead, where I have a QR code, and you can scan that, or you can send it to someone that you know who might be interested. They can scan that. It will take them directly to the application page. And if they keep the first part is a lot of just information, more logistics, details, things like that. But if you keep scrolling, it gets to the application part. So if there's anyone who, you're listening to this and you're thinking about them, then this would be a great thing to send to them and tell them to apply, because again, our applications are open now and they close on March 15th.
Thank you, Erin, so much. We have we have at least one question, I think, here in the Q&A.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know how to enable the chat. It's not working, so we'll just have to use the Q&A to communicate.
So Anne she asked, do you think there's a concerted effort to keep us ignorant about our mucus and fertility in general? There's a lot of money and control to be had in our ignorance, I believe. I've been teaching Creighton for 23 years. I work in a pregnancy resource center now doing ultrasounds. And thank you for all that amazing work that you do. I think, you know, all of us, I guess, are components or parts of changing that narrative of bringing women from ignorance to, you know, this beautiful knowledge. So this is Natural Womanhood's part of that work that we're all doing together to kind of change the culture and empower this next generation to not be vulnerable to being controlled or being feared because they don't have the information about their body that can bring them to that freedom, away from that fear and that ignorance and that ability to be controlled by not knowing what their other options are. Will there be other informational sessions like this? Well, this one's being recorded and we'll make sure to get it to you. So if there's someone else that you think needs to know about this because they might have college women that they work with, or you know, or other women, then you can share it with them, and that'd be great.
Yeah, what I wanted to add something to what Erin was talking about. I mean, it's very interesting to see in the quote how this work, right, is really impacting those young women in terms of really understanding who they are. And when you think of our culture today, it's trying to tell, because it's been pushed so much to, well, to be successful, you have to be like a man, right? Get on birth control and achieve like a man. And like, we're saying, no, no, right? Understand to be successful, understand what it is to be a woman. And that's very powerful. And that's what the clubs are accomplishing. Now it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's not. We're not taking the short way, because unfortunately there's no shortcut. I mean, a lot of these girls are in context where they already heard about theology of the body and maybe charting and stuff. But what we notice is that, and that was confirmed actually. Erin and Jackie had an interview with Elizabeth Busby from the Theology of the Body Institute, and Elizabeth said, well, this is the application, all right, the practical application of the theology of the body. So it's really kind of helping this thought, these ideas sink in and making them real for these young women. So it's really, but the critical part of that is to have leaders who are really trained. And we invest a lot, you know, having a 3 very full days of training. We also invest in recruiting these young women. We want young women who are, you know, have a good understanding already, you know, of the theology of their body, understanding of what it means to be, you know, the woman's dignity, have some experience of charting, preferably, but not necessarily an expert, right? They don't have to be. Their role is not to be a teacher of charting, right? Their role is just to be a leader. So experience of you know, understanding or seeking an interest really in understanding their cycle is really important. And then some leadership experience, you know, but maybe a Bible study leader or other initiative they've done on campus. So they can be they'll have to be a junior or a senior next year. We have also a few grad students who led the clubs this year, and it's working very well. So these are the profiles that we're looking for. And if you know people, or if you know people who know young women like this, right? Or if you know young women like this yourself, please share with them. It's a great leadership opportunity. Erin, do you want to speak about that? Actually, how maybe as a, you know, what is it different from being a leader versus being just a club member?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things for me as a leader was learning to grow in my own practice of vulnerability. Like, I realized that, and something that we learned in the training was like, you set the tone as a leader. And so if you're not willing to have the courage to be vulnerable, then other people might not, you know, take that leap of faith and be vulnerable. So that was something that I had the opportunity to grow in through these clubs, and just being vulnerable and owning my own experiences and sharing them and then seeing like that I wasn't alone, like in like I had the courage to be vulnerable, and then I felt that that was blessed because other women started sharing similar things. And so I feel like vulnerability was one of the biggest blessings in having that leadership position, and then the ripple effect that it has on the group. And then from there, like those girls are able to be vulnerable with their friends, and so it just continues in this multiplication style.
Well, I just want to say too that I observed from the first training where you were part of to where you are now, like in terms of leadership growth. Yeah, I really observed how you've grown as a leader, and it's very, very powerful. We have another question, Jackie. You want to answer it?
Yes. Well, one other question. Jess is, interested in attending the conference and starting a club at the university, at her university in Virginia. However, she'll be out of town during those June dates. So the training is a requirement for leaders. But Jesse, maybe you know another girl on your campus or a friend who would want to co-lead with you, and maybe you could send her to the training, and then you could just serve as her co-leader, because every leader then is required to go back and recruit a co-leader, because we want to make sure nobody does this alone. So maybe there's somebody that that kind of shares your passion, someone that is like-minded to you, that maybe you could encourage her to apply and come to the training, and then you guys together could co-lead that group there at your university.
Yeah, it's super. But the training is just, first of all, it's in person on purpose, because there's a component of how the groups themselves are in person, and so we practice these group experiences together. And then also there's a common of community, creating a community among the leaders, so that they support one another. So it's very important. We can't just do without training. If someone, I think someone was asking about connecting her or connecting with her. I think we have the email. We'll email everyone afterwards to
Yes.
for a follow-up.
But yes, and specifically, if you'd like us to contact you specifically, yeah, we have your emails in the registration, so we can definitely send you an email. I'm Jackie at naturalwomanhood.org. Erin is Erin at naturalwomanhood.org. So you're welcome to send us an email as well.
One thing too is that if you have a group on campus, Jackie and Erin have been giving talks, so they could do it in Zoom presentations about this topic. I don't know if you want to say a few words about that, Jackie or Erin. Where you did it so far, and
it's been awesome in a few universities in Houston, and then UT and UTSA here in town. We've been able to go at A&M in person and give presentations to the women. And I mean, well, it depends if it's a women's group or if it's just a Catholic group of of co-ed students. But either way, we kind of tailor the message to those two audiences, and the women just leave on fire for like, oh, this is so uplifting, so positive. I've never heard this before, and then it really piques their interest to want to dive more into what else do I not know about my body and about my womanhood that could change my perspective and my future. And whatever vocation that future is, if it's married life or single life or consecrated life, that this information is for them. So those are really great. And we have done a few by Zoom too that are beyond our reach, physically to get there.
Yeah, that's a great way to introduce a program and recruit, expose the students to those concepts and get started. And the deadline to apply for this?
March 15th.
March 15th,
so,
right? Okay.
March 15th. So please.
Yeah. And it's not a very hard application, but we need that by March 15th, of course. So.
Yeah, and if you're interested, after March 15th, we will quickly schedule interviews with all the applicants, and then once we have our selections, we will let them know by April, so they can make plans to be here in June.
Wonderful. Well, good. If there is no other question, it's time to close this meeting. So, any last word, Jackie or Erin?
No, just yeah, please apply. If you have a grad student, I mean, someone who's recent graduate and she's really passionate and really interested and she knows she would love this opportunity, please tell her to apply too. I mean, the important thing is that it's a peer that's leading the group, right? So, so I mean, it's okay if they're still, you know, in that still that close to that state of life where they're still very involved in that college life atmosphere. So, you know, it doesn't, you know, preferably an undergrad to lead other undergrads, but if there is someone who's a recent grad or still in grad school, we welcome their application as well.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you both. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and we'll be in touch. God bless.